Okay, right. I'm Paul. I work for Skalinski. I'm a type of 3 developer, and today we'll be talking a bit about the Extbase ORM. As an introduction, for those who know about Extbase, Extbase it's a type of 3 framework used for developing extensions, but also used in for some core functionalities of type of 3. It's as a bit of a history. It's a backport of the Flow project, which was implemented mainly for the Typo 3 Neos release. And yeah, Flow implements a domain-driven design. So yeah, the best place to start with a new extension is the domain. The easiest way I know to do this is just using the extension builder tool of Typo 3 and just kickstart your extension that way. But a more reliable way is to go into the code, into the TypoScript, in the main model classes, and make the changes yourself. Because yeah, this extension builder is can be a bit limited. So as you can see, this is the interface of the extension builder, where you can map your whole domain. And for example, I just have 3 tables right now, and which are related. It's a good idea to always have the advanced options feature on. And yeah, you can start by dragging a new model object and just editing its properties. I already did this for these 3 tables, so I'll start just by explaining some of the features. The first one in the domain object settings, it's the object type. So we have 2 options here. One is entity and one is the value object. This, in the end, means which parent class your domain class will inherit. And the main difference between entities and value objects is that entities are closely related to their identifier. So, for example, if you have an instance of your class, of your entity in an execution, and you instantiate it in another one, those 2 objects will be the same. So for value objects, this is not really the case. The second one is the aggregate root option. This will add a repository for your domain model. And yeah, it's better to check it if your class represents a standalone object. So something that makes sense on its own. So you won't need it, for example, for a tag, which is it's how do I say, it's meaningless and without a relation to a product or to something else. But yeah, this is examples may vary, but that's this case. Another option is just to enable sorting. Simply adds a sorting field to your model and standard enable fields here. And the categorization will also create a relation to the sys category table for your model. You can also map your object, your class to an existing database table, or to extend a already defined model class. Okay, so in the default actions, you just have a list of a few predefined actions when you can add those actions are views that plugin can display on the page. So you can have a list of products, or you can just show a single product, and yeah, the product controller will take care of these actions. And if you check any of them, they will be added to this controller. Now the other section is the properties. I just have two example properties here. You can select from the whole list of predefined types, and yeah, this in the end will generate your SQL tables and your TCA configuration for this model object. Yeah, you can also set it as required, and this will automatically set the constraints for also in the TCA and the main model class. The last part here, it's the relations, where you can define relations between other tables. For brand, for example, here I have an N-to-1 relation, which means that a product can have only one brand. So you simply define a name for your relation field. You select the type and drag and drop the relation to the table. You can also do this for external classes. So it's not only for tables inside your domain. For tags here, I have an M2M relation. This means that the extension builder will not only create the tags relation field, but also create an relation table, so that these two you can add more more tags to one product. Okay. Okay. Right. So once you're done with this, you can also configure your plugins here. I just created an example one, which is I only use it to display the a few data that I have in the database. I already created some records.
Your system is really slow, Paul.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I've added just an example of 3 brand items, 2 products, and a few tags. So yeah, the brands and the tags are not really interesting, but yeah, if you edit product, for example, you should be able to see all the fields we defined in the extension builder. So we have the title, the price there. I'll talk about this field that did not appear in this in the domain model design. And yeah, these are the 2 relation fields. So the brand is an N-to-1 relation. So yeah, you can only select 1 brand, and the tags are MN. So yeah, you can add as many tags as you want related to this product. Right. So now to the code. First, the first thing you notice is the structure of the classes. So yeah, we have the classes folder with the controller, the domain, and yeah, that's it. What's interesting for now for us is the domain. Here we have the all the domain classes we defined, plus another 2, which are subclasses of the product. And this means that they inherit the product properties and also add their own. But the database records are stored in the same table for these 3 classes. And yeah, we also need a repository for each aggregate class we have, domain class. We can take a look into the product class, and yeah, we see here the properties we defined together with getters and setters for each property. It is good to know that the name of the properties can be evaluated automatically to the name of a column in the products table. So for example, if you have a title column, then you have a title property in your class, and they will automatically be connected if also your TCA configuration is correct. But for example, if you want something like product. This will to be automatically mapped into the database. It will have to look something like so. You can see that this column will be translated to a to a lower camel case to search for the corresponding property in the product class. Yeah, you can also sorry. Yeah, it is because the um, data mapper of Extbase checks, parses your whole class file and reads these annotations. And you can define them with the use statement, but the domain mapper will not know what you mean by brand. So you need to define your key class name here. But you, so this is only for the type annotations in the in here, but in for the classes, for the getters and setters, you can simply use brand like this, like you said. So you don't need to use the full name. Yeah, the extension builder also takes care to set your the correct data types for your properties. So yeah, we have here just one brand object which is related to the product, and in the case of tags, we have an object storage, which is a collection of more tag objects. Okay, so yeah, also we can define validation constraints here. So in this case, the title and the price are set to not empty, but there are also some other validations you can define for your math for your domain class, and yeah, you can also define specialized validation classes for your extension. But yeah, I guess this should be another presentation because the validation part is pretty complex in its own. Right. So yeah, and you should also take into consideration that the once an object is validated, all its relations are also validated. So if you have constraints on your tags model or on your brands, your whole product will not be valid if one of those related to it are not. Okay, so next, I would like to talk about these two classes. the clothing product and shoes product, which they both extend the main product class, and they have their own properties on top of them in the product. And to get them to work together, you can use a TypoScript configuration, and you define your main class here. You set a record type for it, but you can also omit it for the main class, and define the subclasses here. And each it's a bit counterintuitive because you have to write the same class name twice. But yeah, that's how Extbase works. And another important part is you have to set these subclasses to let Extbase know that they use the same table as the product class. So this is the table name, which is created automatically by the extension builder, and it's a combination of the extension name together with the name of the of your module. So this is for the case of the product. You don't need it because it knows in which extension you have the class. It knows the name of your class, and it can automatically decide which table. Yeah, yeah. Their class name is different, so that's why I have to do it here, but not for the product class. And yeah, that's it. And if we go back to the product configuration, see that I have this type option here, for which I can select the type of the object of the record. And for example, the shoes products have this property, and while the clothing product, if I make it a clothing product, I will only have I will not see the sports property, but I'll have another one instead, which is defined in the in the TCA of the table. But they are saved in the same table. Okay. Well, let me check this. Okay. Yeah. The other important part of the domain modeling is the repository. So the repository is a class which should be used to build and execute queries to the database and return the resulting objects. Or you can also get the raw unmapped results from it. But yeah, it's usually used to return the object. The repository classes have a few common methods, which yeah, you can call the find all method to get a result of all the products in your database. You can search by the identifier. You can use the create query method to get a query object, which then you can set up like in this example. I have the query object and I can add constraints to it. In this case, I want only the products added yesterday. So I add two constraints for the creation date. And using the matching method on the query and execute, I get the result of the product. And if you set 1 here, then your query will return the raw result from the database. So the rows will not be mapped to the products classes.
Oh, I didn't know that. This is cool.
Yeah, the queries, the repositories also have a few magic methods where you can find search by different properties of your object. So you can, for example, find by title or find by color with the color or your required value, and the repository will query automatically based on that. Even
I have one question, Paul, regarding this war query result returning what you mentioned.
Yeah.
The main problem regarding performance in Exbase is the ORM-Layer. So this means the mapping to the objects. This is memory intensive and also performance related. Pretty slow if you have big data sets. But the query generation and so on, this is not the big deal. So does this mean it would make much more sense to use with Exbase or in type of 8 doctrine database layer instead of the type of 3 basic queries? Would it be better to use it like this then?
You could use it like this, but it is a bit limited compared
It's limited in that way.
So, for example, for these queries, you cannot make queries on more than one tables. So you cannot join.
This is not really true. You can join in Exbase, also in doctrine. And you also can, if you have more complex queries, use statements. The interesting fact is, should we internally drop the usage of the type of 3 API, the all type of 3 database API, in favor of this? Because it seems if you can return raw results, it makes more sense to use Exbase general. So also for the, in general, for the query generation, at least. So also for the places where it's the performance is more relevant. So it's also easier to switch in the future between Exbase ORM and non-ORM.
I guess so, but the query results returned here are not already mapped. So the mapper is not executed when this is returned. The mapper is executed only when you access the results, when you parse through them.
Didn't you said that if I add 1 to execute, you will get an array, I think, instead of this query result, or it seems at least some query array-like stuff. And when it contains the same war record set as usual. So whole fields, everything else, what you need usually.
Of course, but it's
Okay.
only yeah, like for the target table. For the
Yeah, sure, but this totally makes sense. This is exactly what we want usually. Fabi, what do you think about this?
Okay, what I think about this, I think we shouldn't swap the old way to swap the type of free API, because this is still slow. I tested in the past with some really rough bare speed tests, like timing starts, timing ends, and I compared both functions. And this function was still much slower because it goes all the way through this persistence manager stuff, the query stuff, and so on. And I think he also maps a bit, not everything, but a bit of information, and it's still slower. Just you can see the best result on the speed test if you're using about 50,000 records, which are getting over this execute stuff with true, and the type of free API. You can see a speed difference, a big speed difference.
Please do me a favor, add into our list of possible topics and evaluations an item where we check this in detail, because I'm pretty interested in it.
Okay, sure.
We also shouldn't forget that in type of 3.8 and following, so all type of 3 API is deprecated. So we need another solution in the future. And I think maybe with Doctrine, this is also much, much faster. If it's possible in Doctrine, this is the next interesting fact then, but needs to be evaluated. So please write this into the topic list. Thanks.
Okay, so yeah.
Regarding the joins, before I forgot it. You also don't know how to do joins in Extbase. Did I understood this correctly?
I tried it a few times, but it's not that I cannot do join, but the result I got was not what I really expected.
Yeah, in general, you can make pretty simple joins. I think these are always inner joins. I'm not so totally sure. But yeah, you are right, it's limited. I think with Doctrine, it's not so limited anymore, but I'm not a Doctrine expert. In general, with Exbase, with the current layer at least, you can simply access inside constraints, inside conditions, other tables simply by adding this table followed by a dot field name. So, for example, in this greater than or equal method, you could say brand dot creation date or something like this. Yeah, product doesn't make so much sense because you are inside the product repository. But if you would say it must be a field inside this product, I think brand is a field in your products. And brand.creation date would then create an inner join, I think, and check with value what you want to be checked. But
yeah,
just one thing to mention here, yeah, with example, I think it's not working. Yeah, but yeah, in general, it's definitely possible to do such joins.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but you must have a reference inside the domain model.
Yeah, of course. You have to have your domain model for pages, and you have to have your creation date mapped to one of the properties of the model. In this case, I mapped the CR date column to the creation date property. So yeah, this also should have mentioned that it is also possible that you can map columns to different name properties in your domain model class, so they don't need to have the same name or lower camel case. Okay, so yeah, I guess that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about the repositories. Yeah, this is just an example of a list action, and I have all three repositories for the simple products, the clothing products, and the shoes product, and running the find all method on each of them will return the corresponding results. So this product will contain also the clothing and the shoes product. Okay. And this is just a readout of the results of the database of the repositories.
Nice layout.
Yeah, I really have time to style it better. Okay. What I wanted to talk in this controller is you wouldn't usually do this, but you can use the data mapper to map a row array to a specific class. So in this case, I want the clothing product with UID1. So if I call the data mapper with the class name as the first parameter and an array of rows, but in this case, it is enough just to specify the UID of the row. So, and the data mapper will take care of the rest.
And when you have one new object with UID set.
I have the new object, which also has the other properties of the.
Okay, can you give us an example when this is useful? I never used it and I never seen this.
It's just an example. If you have a row of, I mean, it's not really. There are other methods to do this, but I just added this just to have an idea of how the data mapper works. So, for example, yeah, find by UID, yeah, it's the same thing.
So this is not simply mapping a new object, but it's also searching if you're adding a UID in the database for an existing one. And when it maps to the existing one. Okay.
Yeah, and I also wanted to demonstrate the entity aspect of the clothing product label. So, for example, I have the products here. I just take the second one in the array and change his one of his properties. This is not saved into the database, it's just in the execution. But when I map the this UID1 to the clothing product, I will get the object, the clothing product object, but the properties will be the same as the last time it was modified. Yeah, so it's kind of like a singleton. That's what entities act like. So yeah, but these are not saved to the database until the execution is completed, and then that's when the persistent manager kicks in and persists all the data. So yeah.
I have one other question. It's not related to this data mapper. Oh, sorry. I don't want to disturb.
Oh, sorry. It was just one more thing about the state. The entity class also keeps track of the state of each of its properties. So, for example, if a property changes its value compared to the persisted one, then that property will be not will be tagged as dirty. So that's one way to check if there are changes to your domain models. So until it's persisted, that property will still be set as dirty. Okay, that is it.
Okay, then I have one final question.
Yeah.
You are using the var_dump function from the debugger utility. Why do you using the var_dump function and not, for example, the debug function? Or not simply the PHP var_dump function? What's the difference about this?
I just like the result a bit better for the var_dump. I can show you how what the result is.
So it's just a formatting issue in this case.
Yeah, just know that this might take a while.
Okay, yes. It's always a bit slow if you are debugging objects.
Okay, so here I have the result of the first query, and this is the product where I have the price initially set to $50, and I choose, sorry. Yeah, this is the result of the var_dump.
But isn't it the same like the debug function? If you're just writing down debug and this product?
Yeah,
you can.
I think so, yeah.
It's the same, okay.
Right, and for the second product, I set the price here at $51. And when I map it again, just based on the UID, I see that I have the $51 set for price and the properties tagged as modified as dirty. Okay, so that was pretty much what I wanted to talk about. There are also a lot of other use cases for this. You can create records from the front end and yeah, just using the validators and the other functions, you can make sure that those are saved correctly in the database. But yeah, like I said, this will maybe need another presentation on its own. And regarding the performance, Exbase has a bit of a notoriety of being really slow ever since the beginning, but later versions, things are getting better. So, but still, it is not really a good idea to use Exbase functions where you really don't need them. So, for example, if you have Ajax requests and you just need simple data return, there really isn't no reason to instantiate the whole models and the repositories.
Yeah, so don't use Exbase if you want fast requests or if you have really big data sets.
Yeah.
Anyone else has questions?
Yeah, any questions? Any other
I don't
questions?
have any.
Thorsten? Everything is clear? Cool.
I'm muted. Yeah, sorry, was muted. Yeah.
Johannes?
No questions either.
I hope it was.
Mhm.
I hope it wasn't
That's
completely
interesting.
boring. That they are at least.
Yeah, it was really interesting for everyone, I think. There were also some really new stuff that I never heard from, so this is exactly the reason why we are doing this.
Okay. Yeah, that's better than.
Mhm.
Okay, so thanks for listening to me, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the next presentation, mostly because I will not be